Hey viewers, if you would like to get too soon trending news videos, please subscribe to our channel, Daily Bulletin News, and stay with us. The show seems to be moving us towards big February sweeps moments from Constantine and Everett to the drug epidemic that's engulfing more and more of the canvas. But with characters leaving Salem just as we get into one of the biggest times of the year, exactly how Days of Our Lives is going to handle it all has got us baffled. An important message. Let's talk about that Martin Luther King Jr. Day episode a bit. Yes, the show felt a bit heavy-handed with how they approached it, but that's kind of par for the course. And it's not to say it didn't tackle very real, important issues. My big gripe was that it would have been would still be nice to see some of these things they talked about on screen. Jada talking about being profiled, for instance, isn't nearly as effective as if we'd seen it. Show, don't tell. Make us feel, don't tell us how to feel. Plus, talking about issues of prejudice and racism only during special days and ignoring them the rest of the year feels a bit like trying to have your cake and eat it too. Except they're serving us a kind of slim, bland cake. There are real stories that could be told, rather than just having a PSA episode here and there. Still, I do appreciate that the show took the day as an opportunity to get dialogue going. Now maybe figure out a way to incorporate it. Who's out? Who's in? One thing I'll say for the temp writers, they're keeping us on our toes with the comings and goings, even if none of them seem to be more permanent. We're not too far into 2024 and Lucas is back. Though to be fair, he pops up every now and then is pretty much the only person stuck in jail. But if he survives this story, couldn't the infirmary have at least cleaned him up a bit better? And earns his freedom, he could be returning to the canvas more regularly. Wendy faked us out by leaving and coming immediately back, while it looks like Tate, Holly, and Nickel all left this week for a bit longer. The first for rehab he doesn't need, the latter two for Italy for Holly's treatment. You can be sure they'll all be back at some point, but I honestly have no clue how long they'll be gone. There's way too much story left to tell to keep them gone. Then again, I thought that about Gaby, and 3 months later, we still have yet to see her in prison. I'm guessing the powers that be may not want the temp writers making too many changes, but we've got months and months of their work left, and they can't stall these stories forever. If nothing else, maybe they're just setting up big returns for February and explosive reveals. Real consequences. Then there's Theresa, who looks to be trying to leave next week, but Eric Martsolf assured us that she's not going anywhere. And this is where it gets interesting, because I get the feeling that the writer's strike is keeping her around a lot longer than was originally intended. And I don't hate that. Yes, Emily O'Brien is a different Theresa than Jen Lilly, and how the show handled that change was atrocious for everyone involved, but she's made the character her own. What's more, I feel like she's really come into her own with this Holly stuff. Relapsing with ecstasy seemed like a curious choice for the writers to make, but it does make you feel good. O'Brien did a great job portraying Theresa being high out of her mind, and that breakdown when she screamed at Alex and Brady at how wrong everything was before breaking her rosary was heart-wrenching. I hope they treat this slip carefully and don't just gloss over Theresa fighting back from her relapse. The whole drug story has opened up more than I thought it would. It's weaving in Theresa's guilt over manipulating Alex, distracting Maggie enough from Holly's overdose for Constantine to focus on Steve and John. Harris is pulling Jada and Rafe in more with his investigation, not to mention Lucas and Kate, while Stefan and Ava are, well, they're kind of still doing their own thing. But they're responsible for a lot of problems, so I expect them to be more mixed up with others, especially after EJ promised Nicole he'd make the drug suppliers pay when he knows who they are. It's not a perfect web by any means, but I like that it's pulling in a lot of folks. Guess who's coming to dinner? Let me get this straight. Stephanie moved back in with Steve and Kayla because she ended things with Chad, but somehow never mentioned anything about Everett to the point they had no clue he existed. I did appreciate Steve's spidey sense tingling with Everett, and hope it wasn't just the worry of an overbearing father. After all, he was the first to sense something was off with Constantine too, so him realizing something's off with Everett would be a nice twist.